Lesson 825, Problem 8-102. We are given the quadratic equation y equals x squared plus 4x plus 9, and we are going to complete the square to get this equation into graphing form. And then we need to find the vertex, the x-intercepts, and the y-intercepts, and then we need to graph it. Okay, so we're going to start by completing the square. So I'm going to draw this out. Again, you can use your tiles if you want, or you can draw it out, whatever is easiest. Just rewrite my equation there. Okay, so I'm using blue because I've got positive tile here, so I have a y tile. And on the right, I have an x squared tile, putting it in the bottom left-hand corner. I have 4 x's, so again, I'm going to split those in half and put 2 of them above my x squared tile. And I'm going to put 2 of them off to the side. All right. Okay, and then now I need to fill in the part of my square here that I'm missing. So I have 9 ones, so 4 of them will go there to complete the square, and I'll have an extra 5. And remember, when I'm completing the square, I want that square just to be a perfect square by itself, so I need to get rid of these 5 ones. So I'm going to take away 5 from both sides. And then I'm going to, I know that these now go to 0, so those are gone, and now I'm left with a perfect square on the right. So I have x plus 2 times x plus 2. Go ahead and write this algebraically below. So on the left, I have y minus 5 equal to x plus 2 squared. And good. So I have that. I'm good to go on that. And then now I need to get my y alone. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I get that y equals x plus 2 squared plus 5. So this is my graphing form. And so I can see the vertex when I have it in this form right away. So my vertex is at, so I'm taking what's in my parentheses there, x plus 2, and setting it equal to 0 and solving for x. So when I do that, I get a negative 2. And then the y coordinate of my vertex is whatever I see here. It's a positive 5, so that's what I'll put in there. So we've got the graphing form, we have the vertex, and now we need to find the x-intercepts. Okay, so to do that, if I want to use this form that I have, I'm going to go take what I have in graphing form. And if we're trying to solve for the x-intercepts, we have to let y equal 0. So I am going to just substitute 0 in for y. All right, and then I'm going to just undo everything happening to x until I get it by itself. So I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides. Negative 5 equal to x plus 2 squared. And then now I need to undo that square. So when I try to do that, to take the square root, right? Because the square root is what's going to undo the square. So I get the square roots of negative 5. And I have a problem because I cannot take the square root of this negative 5 and get a real number. So the reason being is if I was to take, let's say we had the square root of 16. We could take that and get plus or minus 4, because if I take 4 times 4, I get 16. If I take -4 times -4, I get 16. So anytime I square a number, I'm going to get a positive number. So there's no way that I could square something and end up with this negative number. So it has to work both ways. So I cannot take the square root of a negative number. So what that means is we are not going to have any real x-intercepts, okay? So thinking about what that means, that's telling me that my parabola is not going to touch or cross my x-axis. If I have no x-intercepts, it does not go through my x-axis. Okay, so we're going to draw a picture of it in just a moment. Let's keep that in mind, and then just look at the last piece. We have to find the y-intercept. Okay, and so if you remember, when I have an equation in standard form, like I do right there, I can see my y-intercept right here, because my y-intercept happens when x equals 0. So if I put a 0 in for both of these x's and solve for y, I get y equals 9. So my y-intercept has to be at 0, 9. Okay, so right now we know that our y-intercept is at 0, 9, and we know our vertex is at -2, 5. All right, so we're going to use those two pieces to sketch a graph. Okay, so we said that our y-intercept was at 0, 9. So somewhere up here. Just draw a little sketch here. And then our vertex is at -2, 5. Okay, so -2, 5. So my vertex is right here. Now, the other piece I need to know is, we know that our vertex is the midpoint of our parabola, right? It's where our line of symmetry runs through our vertex. So we know this has to be the middle point. And since I have my y-intercept here, I know that this parabola is going to open up. So it's going to look something like that. And so now you can see we do in fact not have any x-intercepts because our parabola, the minimum point, happens to be above our x-axis. Okay, so anytime you see where you're trying to solve for your x-intercepts and you have to take square root of a negative number, that means you're not going to have any x-intercepts.